Stu Baylor coming off his second win in a row. Can he make it 3 in a row here in round number 5? Meanwhile, Ben Kelly looks to make his return to the center of the box for the first time since round number 2. And don't forget, veteran rider Josh Strang coming off a second-place finish in round 4. GNCC on MAVTV starts now.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Hello and welcome to the 5th round of the 2021 GNCC racing season, presented by Specialized and AMA National Championship. We're here for the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. We're back in Union, South Carolina, where we hosted round 1, the Big Buck GNCC. I'm Mike Ewaynes, and I'll be taking you through today's racing action. We start things off, of course, with the Specialized race recap. And the early lead in round number 4 was the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki ride of Josh Strang. As the race wore on, Strang, he had plenty of company. As you can see there in turn 1, that was Jordan Ashburn sitting in the number 2 spot, at least for the moment. But boy, as the race wore on, it was these two guys out front, Strang and Baylor, that were going back and forth throughout much of the race. Both riders, without a doubt, needing a win, but hey, it's racing. Only one guy can get out front. Only one guy can win it, right? So Strang, solid ride from him, but boy, just could not shake Stu Baylor, the 514 Ampro Yamaha from behind him, and eventually Stu would find himself out in front of Strang. Strang refusing to let Stu Baylor out of the sights, but as the race wore on, Stu Baylor, who needs wins if he wants to get back into championship contention without a doubt. Strang does too, but both guys, without beating a dead horse, they need wins to get back into this championship hunt, and both riders were showing that determination last round as going back and forth, playing in the mud right there, and Strang able to hold off and shut the door on Stu Baylor for the moment. But again, as the race wore on, it was Baylor who found himself out front of Josh Strang, and Baylor ended up snagging the win, his second win of the season in round number 4. So big congratulations to Stu Baylor. Actually had a chance to catch up with Stu after the race.
Yeah, that was, man, that was intense. I could tell that last lap, both Strang and I, our motors were down on power. You could just hear it in the motors, you could hear it in the bike, and there was times where we get in the deep stuff and you know you got to give it hell, and it's like you know your bike could possibly blow up in these conditions. So it was good. Our bikes held together and made for a hell of a battle down to the finish. It was, man, I missed some marks. They're coming to the finish, and I could feel Strang behind me. He was so close, and he missed a couple marks that we had nailed all day long, and he probably could have made the pass stick right here before this road, and it sounded like he tried to get on the inside, and if he would have railed outside and picked up the line, I think it would have been a different story. But man, racing like this is incredible. I'm just waiting for this guy to start getting old.
Well, congratulations to Stu Baylor, taking his second win in a row. Josh Strang with a strong second-place finish, and Jordan Ashburn with his second third-place finish of the season. And here we are today for round number 5. Can Baylor keep the wins coming? The XC1 Pro Class ready to roll. Ricky Towery with the waving of the green flag and jockeying for position for the All Balls Whole Shot Award in the XC1. Who's it going to be? It looks like the 989 Rockstar Husqvarna of Thad Duvall. He's got some company on the outside right there in the 212 of Ricky Russell on that Coastal Racing Factory gas machine. Ben Kelly right there with him, and boy, as you looked at that, Stu Baylor looking like he was about middle of the pack. Look for him to work his way up right there. It's Duvall, Russell, and Ben Kelly leading the way in the top 3, and we head back down to the starting line for the XC2 250 Pro Class. And snagging that Hot Cams Whole Shot is going to be the 198 Teely Energy KTM ride of Liam Draper and the 282 of Mike Wachowski on that Ampro Yamaha sitting in the number 2 spot. Two heavy hitters in the XC2. but only one of them has a win this season. That is Wachowski back in round number 1. So can Liam pick up his first? Can Wachowski pick up his second? And there you go. How about that? The 318 Yamaha of Chase Colville. The man is automatic. He's a whole shot machine. Snags it right there in the FMF XC3 class on those 125s, singing the song of our people. And we're back out front now with the 212 Coastal Racing factory gas machine of Ricky Russell with a lead. And there he is, Stu Baylor already into the number 2 spot. Not the best start for Baylor, but hey, it's a 3-hour race for these guys. And he's pushing up front. And boy, already a gap between second and third place right now. So Ricky Russell, great start for him. He's out front. Second place is the Ampro Yamaha, and I believe that is going to be the 989 of Thad Duvall, who had the early lead in this one. Thad, a season of ups and downs. He's kind of on that road to recovery. He's putting the pieces of the puzzle together, trying to get this thing back right. Nothing would serve him better than getting a podium finish here today. Can he make it happen? We got more GNCC coming up on MAVTV.
Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And by Yamaha. Revs your heart.
Well, Ricky Russell still our leader out front with Stu Baylor sitting in that number 2 position. Meanwhile, I believe it is Ben Kelly who has moved into the third place position. We'll get our eyes on it right here. And sure enough, it is. There is the number 530 factory KTM ride of Ben Kelly up into the number 3 spot now. Let's see who comes around in 4th place. Is it going to be Thad Duvall? No, it is going to be Lane Michael. So the Ampro Yamaha ride of Lane Michael moves into the number 4 spot. And there is the 989 Rockstar Husqvarna of Thad Duvall, and Thad has got some company on his 6. That is Jordan Ashburn right there, pulling up on that rear wheel, and more company. There's the Grizzly Grant Baylor on the Milwaukee gas right there, rolling. So Thad's got his work cut out for him now to try and keep those guys at bay. So Ricky Russell looking good out front. Of course, Russell coming off that huge injury down in Georgia in 2020. But this season, he has given us some glimpses of the Ricky Russell of old here in 2021. Has not finished on the podium yet this season, but he does seem to be putting the pieces of the puzzle together and continues to make steady, good progress here in 2021. So Baylor in the number 2 spot, and scratch that. Baylor out front, the leader. So, hey, as soon as I was praising Ricky Russell, he falls. There he is in the back side of the screen right there into the number 2 spot. Still, solid ride. He's right there with Stu Baylor. I don't think Ricky Russell, does he want to win? Absolutely. I think, would he feel good about a podium finish, specifically a second place finish? I think he'd feel great about it. It's a move in the right direction for him. Still a lot of race left, and certainly anything can happen. But Baylor out front. There is Lane Michael on screen in the number 4 spot. So Lane Michael on the move, well into the top 5 now. Baylor on screen out in front, getting his lines pointed out to him by the team right there. So the 514 looking smooth in his home state of South Carolina. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Ricky Russell, how about that? Gets pointed the exact same line. Now that's sportsmanship right there. Find me another sport where you've got that kind of sportsmanship, and I'll be shocked. I mean, there's nothing like it. GNCC is just something else. Incredible to see. So these two guys out in front putting on a heater right now, looking for that number 3 or that number 530 ride in third, and there he is. So Ben Kelly remains in that number 3 position. So, of course, Baylor coming off the 2 wins in a row. We've mentioned that on the show a few times this season. Stu, a heavily favored contender heading into this season after not racing in round 1, finishing 14th in the overall in round 2. A lot of folks started to doubt whether or not Stu would have what it takes to put himself back in championship contention. Obviously, still has a lot of work to do, but he's doing what he needs to do for the moment. Hey, there's more than just motorcycle racing at the World of GNCC. That's right, the MAVTV racing takes place on Saturday night at the GNCCs, featuring classes everywhere from the youth ranks. We have pro ranks like that man right there, Charlie Mullins, who is working on his second win, would end up taking his second win of the season in just their second round of racing. But we have a women's class, a youth class. There is something for everybody, and it just seems to be growing by leaps and bounds with each race we have. So a huge thank you to Specialized for everything, of course, that they do for the season or for the series. Obviously, our presenting sponsor at the GNC season. In addition to the MAVTV racing, the youth bikes, dirt bikes race in action took place earlier on Sunday morning. Matter of fact, first race of the day on Sunday morning, bright and early. They still got sleep in their eyes, except for these guys. Cole Forbes out in front with Nick DeFeo right beside him on the number 3 machine. Cole Forbes, he's missed 2 rounds of racing, so this was technically just his 3rd round of the season. He'd won the previous 2 that he raced, and he'd come out swinging here today. Had some battles with Nick DeFeo. That number 3 machine should pop on screen right there, and there he is, Nick DeFeo. T-Rex, they call him, sitting in the number 2 spot. But when it was all said and done, it was Cole Forbes snagging his big win, his 3rd win of the season. Congratulations, Chase Landers was sitting back there in that number 3 spot there. But Cole Forbes, solid ride from him. Had a chance to catch up with him after the race.
I got the whole shot, and then I seen somebody behind me one lap, and then I pretty much just took it easy the whole entire time, just not trying to push it. Just it was super slick out there and everything. I was just trying not like crash out high side and everything, but just pretty much took it easy and got to the end.
Well, congratulations to Cole Forbes on the win. Caleb Lane finishing second, and Chase Landers rounding out the top 3. And we get back to the racing action, and it is bad news if you are a Josh Strang fan and the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki team here. It's all hands on deck right now as that front wheel looks like it is coming off. And Strang right there in the mix. He's helping out. He says, all right, what can I do? What can I do? I'm going to refuel the bike while you guys get that off of there. So hopefully Strang is able to get this machine back up and going. You can see the sense of urgency right there. He knows, hey, every second we're in here feels like a minute. Every minute feels like an hour. So hopefully Strang's able to get back out and rolling. Stu Baylor into the Ampro Yamaha pits now. And it's business as usual. Getting a little rehydration, getting some fuel, getting the fuel cap back on. Some words of encouragement from his expecting wife, Jade Baylor, in the pits. And Stu looking clean. The 514 Ampro Yamaha off and rolling. And remains, I believe, I did not see Ricky Russell get out of the pits before him. So Baylor still remains out front with the lead here in this one. So we'll keep our eyes on him. And the rest of the pack, there is the 2-1-2 of Ricky Russell sitting in that number 2 spot. So Ricky Russell still rolling in second place. Ben Kelly still in the number 3 spot. So your top 3 all right there together, rolling right now. So the 530 factory KTM of Ben Kelly on the move. Stu Baylor looking good up the hill, doing it for the fans. And so Stu, no issues. Now here we go. You've got some lap traffic that our XC1 pros are getting into. These guys getting some help from the mud fleas, or in this case, the dust fleas in South Carolina. And here they come. More riders. Can he make it up the hill? This is going to make things difficult. If Ricky Russell comes up on this could put a huge gap in between Stu Baylor and Ricky Russell. There he is, the 2-1-2. No problems for Ricky Russell. He says, I got this. Don't sweat it. I'm working my way around. Not an issue. But boy, just an added element to these 3-hour GNCCs is the lap traffic. Now, there's A riders out there racing. There are B riders out there racing. It is what it is. Our pro riders, they are skilled at getting around these guys, and those guys know when the pro rider, you could see it right there on screen. The rider he looked up, he looked over his shoulder, and he said, boy, that sounds like one fast dude. And he was right. It was a 2-1-2 of Ricky Russell on the gas. On the gas. See what I did there? He is rolling into that number 2 spot. Stu Baylor still out in front, now putting a little bit of a gap on Russell. And boy, lap traffic has been a major factor here today. Keeping our eyes on it. Where is he? Where is Ricky Russell? There he is. So Ricky Russell going to have to course through the lap traffic right here. Not going to be an issue for him. But, boy, it has been a factor here today at the Tiger Run GNCC. Baylor on screen looking good. Getting himself rehydrated with the Camelback right there. And Ricky Russell. So these guys both putting on a little bit of a gap between them and Ben Kelly in that number 3 spot now. As Ricky Russell getting to the berm a little bit. No, I take that back. Hey, there's Ben Kelly. So Ben Kelly seems to be making up some time on Ricky Russell. So we'll see if Ben Kelly can perhaps throw his name in the hat for a second-place finish here today. Maybe a little battle between those guys as we get down to the wire. But boy, Baylor doing what he needs to do. Looking good, looking smooth out there. And, hey, wanted to give a shout-out to those mud fleas, or the dirt or dust fleas, whatever you want to call them out there, helping the riders out. You'll see the GNCC fans out there on the track helping these guys out, pointing lines, helping them pick bikes up, pull bikes, both ATVs, motorcycle side of things. They're always out in full force. Well, Stu Baylor, he needs a win. He's got 2 in a row. Can he make it 3 here today? We'll find out here on MAVTV in just a moment.
Coverage of the 2020 Grand National Cross Country Series on MAVTV is brought to you in part by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
Stu Baylor, Ricky Russell, and Ben Kelly. That is your top 3 here today at the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. Round number 5 of a 13-round season here in 2021. We made our return. This is actually the second time we have raced at this location. Of course, this property in Union, South Carolina, the Big Buck property, plays host to round number 1, the Big Buck GNCC. We're back for more. We did this in 2021. We did it again here we did it back in 2020. We're doing it again here in 2021. Stu Baylor, essentially a hometown race. Not too far from here in South Carolina, and he's going to take the win here today. He needs it. He's got 2 in a row, but if he wants a chance to get back in this championship, he's got to do what he did here today in the previous 2 rounds, and that is win, and today he got it done. So congratulations to the AmPro Yamaha ride of Stu Baylor. Still a long season, a lot of season left here in 2021. He's going to have to continue to have success like this if he wants a chance at the championship, because there's a lot of guys, Ben Kelly, Josh Strang, Grant Baylor, all those guys and more. They want their shot at a title after Caleb Russell retiring in 2020. There's a lot to be said about 2021. We had a chance to catch up with Stu after the race.
Yeah, it was good early on. I got a decent jump off the start. I think I came into a couple guys. My back end, I could feel it sliding. I don't know who I caught, but I'm sure somebody went down in that first turn. But yeah, I tried to make as many passes as I could, as fast as I could, and we put ourselves in a really good position early on right there with Ricky, and the pace was just wicked fast that first lap, and Ricky and I were able to get a pretty good gap on those guys. I could close up on him in the wet stuff, and in the dry stuff, you could tell like he was just riding his race and slowing down there because he knew I couldn't catch up, and I was doing the same thing. So we were sprinting where we could and holding back where we could and gapped the guys, and saw that Ben got in third there mid-race, and I was waiting for him to catch us. I saw he gained some time there in the middle, and then Ricky started gaining on me, and I knew it was time to drop the hammer in those last 2.
Well, Ricky Russell finished in the number 2 spot here today. It's his best finish of the season and his first podium of the season. Keep your eyes on this man. The gas machine just seems to have been made for that man right there, Ricky Russell. He looked very comfortable today, and we had a chance to catch up with him after the race.
Needed this. It's been a while, and it wasn't a win, but it was a win in my shoes. So come back, finally get on the podium. Took 5 rounds, unfortunately, but Stu he was riding good, and I was minimizing the gap, but he was just controlling the gap. So the dust was just tough, and I don't know. I'm just happy to be in second place today.
Well, again, a huge congratulations to the 514 Am Pro Yamaha of Stu Baylor. Ricky Russell, fantastic ride out of him today. And, of course, Ben Kelly wrapped up our top 3. We had a chance to catch up with Ben after the race.
Yeah, definitely want the win, but just wasn't in the cards today. I had a good jump off the line. I think I was 3rd, and then the second we got into the woods, it was just white out. Like, I was just like idling through the trail and honestly was running off the trail. It was crazy, and after last round I was super bummed. I wasn't feeling good, things didn't go my way, so to ride strong all day and feel strong at the end was solid. It was just a tough day, tough conditions, and to be on the podium is cool.
So your top 3, Stu Baylor first, Ricky Russell second, and Ben Kelly third. As we take a look at our Specialized race recap, it was the 989 factory Husqvarna machine of Thad Duvall grabbing the whole shot and the early lead until finally Ricky Russell was able to find his way out front. Boy, it did not take long for Ricky Russell to have some company, and that company was Stu Baylor. Stu Baylor and Ricky Russell would battle throughout the day. A lot early on. They kind of settled into first and second place, with Stu eventually making the pass on Ricky Russell. But nonetheless, a fantastic ride out of both riders here today. Some good shots right there. Ricky Russell leading the way. And like we said, it was eventually Stu Baylor getting out in front of Ricky Russell. And that little shot right there, boy, warmed my heart to see the sportsmanship here as Ricky Russell came around, was pointed the exact same line. Keep these guys. We want to see them compete. We want to see them go out there and give it their all. That's exactly what they did today. Of course, it was a tough day for Josh Strang, some mechanical issues. Ended up finishing the day back in 23rd in the overall. So tough day for Josh Strang, but he's going to come back swinging. We know one thing about him. He's the ageless wonder, Josh Strang, and he'll come back out swinging in round number 6, no doubt in my mind. As the day wore on, again, Stu Baylor, Ricky Russell, and that man right there, Ben Kelly, settled into their positions. Everybody kind of on an island by themselves, if you will. And when it was all said and done, the 514, a man who many started to doubt, as after round 1, he did not race. Round 2, the dismal race, to say the least. But boy, 3 wins in a row. Something tells me this man is just getting started. Also, a big congratulations to Johnny Gerard on his 4th win of the season in the XC2 class. Congratulations to him. That's going to do it for us here. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.